Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Gaur Pimanande Daim Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace Srila Boy Charan Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON DBT Founder Acharya's Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Samaveta Bhakta ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Janitai Gaura Pimanande, all glorious to be assembled devotees, all glorious to be assembled devotees, all glorious to be assembled devotees, all glorious to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Taksurinmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Scha Hai Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Maha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantara, as the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Advaita
Sri
Gadadhara
Advaita Gadadhara
Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Om Sarabhyaya Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Mukham karoti vasaram pagom langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Hare Krishna. We are continuing from the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 3, entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnations. And this morning we have come to the most important verse of this chapter, which is text number 28. 1:3:28. Ete chamsha kalaha pumsaha krishnas tu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam bridayanti yuge yuge ete chamsha kala pumsah
Yete cham shakala pumsaha
krishnastu bhagavan swayam
Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam
indrari vyakulam lokam
Indari Vyakulam Lokam
bridayanti yuge yuge
Prayanti Yuge Yuge
ete chamsha kala pumsah
Yete cham shakala pumsaha
krishnastu bhagavan swayam
Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam
indrari vyakulam lokam
Indari Vyakulam Lokam
bridayanti yuge yuge
Prayanti Yuge Yuge
ete chamsha kala pumsah
Yete cham shakala pumsaha
krishnastu bhagavan swayam
Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam
indrari vyakulam lokam
Indari Vyakulam Lokam
bridayanti yuge yuge
Prayanti Yuge Yuge Yete cham shakala pumsaha
ete chamsha kala pumsah
Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam
krishnastu bhagavan swayam
Indrari Vyakulam Lokam
indrari vyakulam lokam
Vridayanti Yuge Yuge
bridayanti yuge yuge ete chamsha kala pumsah krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam bridayanti yuge yuge ete chamsha kala pumsah krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam bridayanti yuge yuge ete chamsha kala pumsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indradi Vyakulam Lokam Yanti Yuge Yuge Ete all these Cha and Amsha plenary portions Kalaha portions of the plenary portions Pumsaha of the Supreme Krishna Lord Krishna two but Bhagavan the personality of Godhead Swayam in the person Indra Adi the enemies of Indra Vyakulam disturbed Lokam all the planets Vridayanti gives protection Yuge Yuge in different ages. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists. Kindly repeat after me. All the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists. Report. In this particular stanza, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is distinguished from other incarnations. He is counted amongst the avatars, incarnations, because out of his causeless mercy, the Lord descends from his transcendental abode. Avatara means one who descends. All the incarnations of the Lord, including the Lord himself, descend on the different planets of the material world, as also in different species of life to fulfill particular missions. Sometimes he comes himself, and sometimes his different plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions, or his differentiated portions directly or indirectly, empowered by him, descend on this material world to execute certain specific functions. Originally, the Lord is full of all opulences, all prowess, all fames, all beauties, all knowledge, and all renunciations. When they are partly manifested through the plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions, it should be noted that certain manifestations of his different powers are required for those particular functions. When in the room small electric bulbs are displayed, it does not mean that the electric powerhouse is limited by the small bulbs. The same powerhouse can supply power to operate large-scale industrial dynamos with greater volts. Similarly, the incarnations of the Lord display limited powers because so much power is needed at that particular time. For example, Lord Parashurama and Lord Nrsimha displayed unusual opulence by killing the disobedient Kshatriyas 21 times and killing the greatly powerful atheist Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was so powerful that even the demigods in other planets would tremble simply by the unfavorable raising of his eyebrows. The demigods in the higher level of material existence many, many times excel the most well-to-do humans in duration of life, beauty, wealth, paraphernalia, and in all other respects. Still, they were afraid of Hiranyakashipu. Thus, we can simply imagine how powerful Hiranyakashipu was in this material world. But even Hiranyakashipu was cut into small pieces by the nails of Lord Nrsimha. This means that anyone materially powerful cannot stand the strength of the Lord's nails. Similarly, Jamadagnya displayed the Lord's power to kill all the disobedient kings powerfully situated in their respective states. The Lord's empowered incarnation Narada and plenary incarnation Varaha, as well as indirectly empowered Lord Buddha, created faith in the mass of people. The incarnations of Rama and Dhanvantari displayed his fame, and Balaram, Mohini, and Vamana exhibited his beauty. Dattatreya, Matsya, Kumara, and Kapila exhibited his transcendental knowledge. Nara and Narayana Rishi exhibited his renunciation. So all the different incarnations of the Lord, indirectly or directly, manifested different features. But Lord Krishna, the primeval Lord, exhibited the complete features of Godhead, and thus it is confirmed that he is the source of all other incarnations. And the most extraordinary feature exhibited by Lord Sri Krishna was his internal energetic manifestations of his pastimes with the cowherd girls. His pastimes with the gopis are all displays of transcendental existence, bliss, and knowledge, although these are manifested apparently as sex love. The specific attraction of his pastimes with the gopis should never be misunderstood. The Bhagavatam relates these transcendental pastimes in the 10th canto, and in order to reach the position to understand the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, the Bhagavatam promotes the student gradually in 9 other cantos. It's a long purport. So, just a few small points. After listing over 20 different incarnations, we come to this particular verse, which is nicely establishing, very clearly establishing that of all of these incarnations, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead from whom all the other incarnations originate from. And that other incarnations, they display some feature of the various opulences that the Lord naturally and eternally possesses. So it means that Prabhupada is mentioning here at the end of this last paragraph we are reading that of all of the different incarnations, the most attractive incarnation is Krishna. Not only does he perform superhuman activities in the material world, but he especially, something very different from other incarnations, he introduces his devotees to the eternal pastimes that are going on in the spiritual world. Krishna, he is known as Rasaraj. He is the Raja of Rasa. He is the Raja, he's the king, he's the master. He's also described as Rasa Samudra, is ocean of transcendental mellows. All of the rasas, actually spiritual life means rasa. Material life also means rasa. There is material rasa and spiritual rasa. We cannot live without rasa. Just like when we eat, it has to taste like something, no? There has to be some taste. So if there's a good cook, there will be good taste. There's a bad cook. So good cooks are important. So rasa, living entity is constantly seeking rasa, which is Prabhupada translates as mellow, or taste, or humor. You know, sometimes we'll say, "Oh, you're in a good humor today," or "You're in a bad humor today." So rasa is intimately connected with feeling, bhava. Yes. So, and the of course, because we cannot live with rasa, that means that those living entities in the material world who don't know about spiritual rasa, they are caught up with material rasa. And material rasa is a source of, is actually a source of suffering. People engage in activities of sense gratification to taste some kind of pleasure, but that is against our original spiritual transcendental nature. So therefore, that's why the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan are so attractive. That's why so many people are going to Kartik in Vrindavan now, because those pastimes are especially displayed. That is where Krishna performed his most attractive of all pastimes, which is the Rasa Lila. Prabhupada is making reference here to the transcendental relationship that the Lord displayed with the gopis of Vrindavan, and in particular, of course, with Srimati Radharani. So these are subject matters, as Prabhupada explains, that are described later in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and that can only be understood and appreciated if we have purified consciousness. So the first 9 cantos of the Bhagavatam are meant to help us purify our consciousness so that we can begin to understand these very, very elevated, very confidential, very intimate pastimes of the Lord. And this is what especially Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared 500 years ago here in Mayapur, and later on relocated, as we know, in Jagannath Puri, and therefore Jagannath Puri, we were discussing yesterday, a group of devotees from Indonesia, they came, they were on their way to Vrindavan, but before going to Vrindavan, they wanted to visit Jagannath Puri. So Jagannath Puri is known in our Vaishnava world as Bhava Vrindavan. It is where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited in a very unparalleled, very unique, unusual way the the mood and the sentiments of the residents of Vrindavan, in particular, of course, Srimati Radharani and the gopis of Vrindavan. So that is why the Bhagavatam is so important, because Bhagavatam is establishing. This is one of the very important verses of the Bhagavatam, where very clearly it establishes Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Of all of the different incarnations, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the source of all other incarnations. So this is very, of all the people in India, for example, and for that matter, for all the people around the world, but especially in India, because India is a place of spirituality. Majority of people who practice spiritual life are not understanding Krishna's position. They will practice spiritual life, but they will not. Means it is actually very rare to have that understanding and appreciation of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and as the source of all incarnations, as the source of all rasas. Yeah. So we know there are 5 primary rasas. The whole subject matter of Bhakti Rasamrita deals with especially the subject matter of rasa, and that has been exhibited especially in the pastimes of Krishna and Vrindavan. So Prabhupada continues in the purport. We're like halfway through the purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami's statement, in accordance with authoritative sources, Lord Krishna is the source of all other incarnations. It is not that Lord Krishna has any source of incarnation. All the symptoms of the Supreme Truth in full are present in the person of Lord Sri Krishna. And in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord emphatically declares that there is no truth greater than or equal to himself. So both Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why if someone has not read and properly understood, many people actually read Bhagavad Gita but don't actually understand. Actually, many people also read the Bhagavatam but also don't understand. Very often Mayavadis, they also read Bhagavatam. Big, what is it? They will have this Bhagavat Sapta. Mayavadis will have Bhagavat Sapta on the Bhagavatam. In Secunderabad, when I was there many years ago, one very famous Bhagavat Sapta reciter, he came to Secunderabad, and for 1 week he was giving class, discourse on the Bhagavatam. And some of our devotees, congregation, they came to the temple and said, "Oh, he speaks so nicely, you know. So what kind of tilak he has? He has like this." So then we were telling that you should be cautious because if one is not having Vaishnava tilak, then one. So they continued going. Somehow they and then after 5 days, because he was talking about Krishna. Bhagavatam is especially in Bhagavat Sapta they speak about Krishna's pastimes in the 10th canto. And then on the 5th or the 6th day, the same congregational members, they came and they said, you know, for the last 5 days, he was talking so wonderfully, quoting so many verses from the Bhagavatam, glorifying Krishna. But yesterday, he said that above Krishna, there is something else. Means that is their faulty understanding that Brahman is higher realization. That means they've not read properly. Vedanti tat tattva vidam tattvam yas gyanam advayam brahmiti paramatmiti bhagavan iti sabjate. This that's another verse, most important verse in the Bhagavatam that explains how there's Bhagavan realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization, something that our Vaishnavacharyas, especially Prabhupada is quoting here, Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Jiva Goswami is one of our foremost experts in nicely explaining in his Satsandarbha. That's why Satsandarbha is very, very unique and very special. So people read Bhagavatam, but they are not understanding properly because they have not received the knowledge of the Bhagavatam by authorized Vaishnavacharyas. So just to continue here, in this stanza, the word Swayam is particularly mentioned to confirm that Lord Krishna has no other source than himself. Although in other places the incarnations are described as Bhagavan because of their specific functions, nowhere are they declared to be the Supreme Personality. In this stanza, the word Swayam signifies the supremacy as the Samam Bonam. The Samam Bonam, Krishna, is one without a second. He himself has expanded himself in various parts, portions, and particles as Swayam Rupa, Swayam Prakash, Tad Ekatma, Prabhava, Vaibhava, Vilasa, Avatara, Avesha, and Jivas, all provided with innumerable energies just suitable to the respective persons and personalities. Learned scholars in transcendental subjects have carefully analyzed the Samam Bonam Krishna, to have 64 principal attributes. All the expansions or categories of the Lord possess only some percentage of these attributes. Yeah, that's explained in detail in the Nectar of Devotion by Srila Rupa Goswami. The different Purusha incarnations have, 94% of these attributes, up to 60. What are the four? There are four that are only uniquely to Krishna. 4 of the 64 attributes only Krishna possesses. When is the last time you read Nectar of Devotion? Maybe it's mentioned here. One of the attributes is that Krishna's beauty Krishna's beauty is unparalleled. Another one is, yes, Krishna's flute playing is also unparalleled. Then, peacock feather. No, other residents of Vrindavan also. But it's, of course, unique to Krishna. Krishna's friends, Krishna's associates are unique. And then Krishna's pastimes. No one can imitate Krishna's pastimes. So 64 principal attributes. All the expansions or categories of the Lord possess only some percentage of these attributes, but Sri Krishna is the possessor of the attributes cent percent. And his personal expansions such as Swayam Prakash, Tadikatma, up to the categories of the avatars, who are all Vishnu Tattvas, possess up to 93% of these transcendental attributes. Lord Shiva, who is neither avatar nor avesha, nor in between them, possesses almost 84% of the attributes. But the jivas, or the individual living beings in different statuses of life, possess up to the limit of 78% of the attributes. In the conditioned state of material existence, the living being possesses these attributes in very minute quantity, varying in terms of the pious life of the living being. The most perfect of living beings is Brahma, the supreme administrator of one universe. He possesses 78% of the attributes in full. All other demigods have the same attributes in less quantity, whereas human beings possess the attributes in very minute quantity. The standard of perfection for a human being is to develop the attributes up to 78% in full. The living being can never possess attributes like Shiva, Vishnu, or Lord Krishna. A living being can become godly by developing these 78% transcendental attributes in fullness, but he can never become a god like Shiva, Vishnu, or Krishna. Yes. He can become a Brahma in due course. The godly living beings who are all residents of the planets and the spiritual sky are eternal associates of God in different spiritual planets called Haridham and Maheshdham. What are the three dhams? Haridham, Maheshdham. No. Haridham is Golokadam. Huh? Devi Dham. Devi Dham is, now is Durga Puja. Yeah, material world. Mahesh Dham is special. The abode of Lord Krishna above all spiritual planets is called Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. Yeah. Haridham means actually spiritual Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha planets is Haridham. And the perfected living being, by developing 78% of the above attributes in fullness, can enter the planet of Krishna Loka after leaving the present material body. So this is the formula how to enter Haridham or Vaikuntha. But in Vaikuntha, there's so many planets also. So that is why the Bhagavatam is very special to the Vaishnavas because there's so much very clear explanation of subject matter of tattva. Yeah, tattva. So any thoughts, questions on this?
Why Krishna took so many avatars, like Rama and
It is why Krishna takes on so many incarnations, appears through so many
he
incarnations.
can come with one. He can come like only Krishna only. He took Rama avatar.
No, because this is also mentioned in the purport that in all of the different pastimes, he doesn't need to display all of the different attributes. He only, different incarnations, they display, this was mentioned here, sometimes one's knowledge is needed, like Sankhya, Lord Kapila. Lord Kapila, he in Bhagavatam, he's giving Sankhya philosophy. So in the Narayan Rishi, the special feature is renunciation, tapasya. They're in the Himalayas performing tapasya. So different attributes, some portion of the Lord's eternal attributes, when they are needed, when they need to be manifest, the Lord manifests only those attributes. So in other words, to respond to the need of that particular situation in that particular planet, that particular universe, the Lord, because there's so many universes and actually the incarnation, the Lord Krishna's pastimes, they are very, very, very confidential pastimes. And that's why they are very rarely displayed. As we hear from Bhagavatam, Krishna, he demonstrates these pastimes that are eternally ongoing in the spiritual world only once in a day of Lord Brahma. It means that Krishna is busy with his pastimes in the spiritual world, and he'll send. It's like from different countries. Sometimes you send like some representative. So depending on the nature of the work that is needed, then you send very high personality, or you said ordinary person. Just like if you want to give a letter to somebody, you send a peon, right? You don't send an ambassador to deliver, or a big personality. So depending on the nature of the work that needs to be done, then a different type of incarnation. Okay, so we can stop here for now. Yes. Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Gaura Pimanandi.
Jai.